but my Google Maps wouldn't work to show me when to turn or where to turn at. I ended up getting lost. I live in Ohio. I ended up in Pennsylvania on the turnpike somehow. My car died. First, I ran out of gas because I couldn't find a gas station. My car died. I ended up walking down the down the turnpike and getting picked up by PennDOT safety people. Doug was his name. Picked me up, took me back to my car, gave me 2 gallons of gas, and jumped my car so I could get home. Thank you, Doug. Thank God for that man. Because I literally was walking down the turnpike with just a gas can in my hand, which wasn't even a gas can. I was planning on buying one when I got there to wherever I was getting gas at, which I literally walked like 10 miles before he even came. I started walking at like 5 a.m. It's disgusting what they're capable of doing. It really, really is. But I immediately put another complaint in with the FBI about that ordeal, and I get nothing back. I get no phone calls. They have all my information. They can get a hold of me, and we deal with this like normal adults now that I'm not what they said I am. But no, they don't want to. They need their narrative to work so they could take me out, because they'd rather me on drugs and dead or in prison than to be sober and walking this planet at all any day. And that's disturbing. I know what I know. I seen what I seen. I got sober to prove to myself that I wasn't crazy, that I really did witness this stuff happen. They used multiple people to try to set me up and create a life around me. And when I say they used multiple people, I'm talking 10 to 15 people they used to try to set me up that I can name off personally. That's disturbing. I was never in any gang. I've never been affiliated with any type of gang. I listened to a music band, and that's what they used. Then my so-called dad, wasn't even my real dad, in the middle of his addiction, post one day that he's starting a motorcycle club, and I'm the vice president. And it was all bullshit. It was all a lie. It was all just him talking. And they knew that, though. They used taxpayer dollars, knowing they were going off false accusations. They were using a Facebook post that some dumb drug addict made, but they knew it was false. What did they do at the same time? They have undercover agents move in as a motorcycle club. And every day that I'm not home, they had the so-called president show up and try to get Jody to come on board with them and prospect for them so that he could get back into the club, so that their narrative would fit. I can't make this shit up, people. It's disturbing as all hell, but I can't make that up. And now that I know what I know, they want me dead and or in prison gone. They'd rather me dead, which is very sad. But I know how they use Facebook. I know the news break. I know the tools that they use and how they use them now, because they've shown me how they use them. I also know that there's good people out there in law enforcement that know the truth. Those are the people that I want to look at this. I don't want to be blocked from the world anymore. I don't want to be not visible when I make a post, because they're censoring me, because they are trying to keep their narrative the way that they want it. Not the way that it really is, the way that they want it. Because they want me to disappear. I've asked for internal investigations to be done. Nothing's happened. But just like my mother's murder, my stepdad murdered her 25 plus years ago. Was it 26 years ago now? He got to walk free. Every cop knew that I talked to, knew the truth, knew that he killed her. His DNA was on her. They weren't together at the time that she died. They had been split for 2 months, and she called him for help. Instead of going and helping her, he went and found her and killed her and left her body laying right next to these railroad tracks in Warren, PA. 2005, I tell them what he told me, because he tells me one night when we're all messed up, what if he killed her? And he tells me the scenario of what if he killed her, how it would work and how it worked out. And then when he saw me drill him and look at him with murder in my eyes, because he had just told me that possibly it was him that killed my mother, he took it back and told me that he couldn't do something like that. He loved her. But then from that day on, he cut me off of my brothers completely. He would not let me back in their life, because he knew he had told me the truth. When I tell the police, they don't take it. They never get... His DNA's on her. He never went to jail for a day. Wait, there's more. Yes, he did go to jail. He shot somebody at his house in 2007. goes to jail. The judge says it's because the guy was on his property trying to rob him, I guess. He says, I'm going to put you away. I should give you more time. But since you have 2 little kids with a woman, your wife, who was murdered, I'm going to give you less time so you can be at home with your kids. He's the one that murdered her. They knew that. They let him get away with murder. And when the truth could have came out, especially in 2020, almost 20 years later, when I wanted to talk to them again and ask them about it, because at the same time they were hacking my phone, and I'm like, what are you really doing? What are you really doing? So I call a so-called attorney, but they had my phone tapped, so they took the phone call. I was trying to get a hold of the state attorney in Ohio, too. They wouldn't take any, and BCI, they wouldn't let any of my phone calls go through at the time because my phone was tapped. But then in 2023, after Michael dies at my house from the overdose, when they showed up because the phone was tapped, instead of an ambulance or the cops, they showed up because they thought it was me overdosing and wanted me dead and gone, and they thought that it was me, and that's why they showed up before the cops or ambulance did. 2 probation officers, well, probation and an FBI agent show up before anybody else could, to stand over me and watch me die, so that their secret was safe about Facebook and what they were doing and how they were using it. And that's the truth. They don't want any of that to get out, though. I'm just supposed to be the bad guy. No matter what they do wrong, doesn't matter, because they've labeled me as something that I'm not, and they let people behind closed doors and law enforcement believe this. And it's all a lie. It's all false accusations. All of it. And then my stepdad, who kills my mom, after they're getting me in the DA's office to talk about the overdose at my house and how it had to have been my fault because of the way it went down. And I'm like, no, I actually called 911. Them 2 probation officers, I thought it was just 2 probation officers at the time. They showed up. Why, I don't know, but they showed up first. So you're letting me see this, just like you let my stepdad get away with murdering my mother and didn't do anything about it. What happens after I tell them that? 2 weeks later, my stepdad's dead. He dies from what I believe was an overdose, but he dies right after they go and talk to him about what I told them about killing. Finally, they actually go and talk to him. And why do they go and talk to him? Because, oops, they messed up. And they were afraid what would happen if all this truth had to come out. And then I'm being the main witness in the overdose at my house, and the drug dealer who sold the drugs that day. I wanted to actually talk the last day because I wanted to get my side out of what I seen happen the day that Michael died. They wouldn't let that happen. They went in the courtroom without me, told me to stay put. They went in the courtroom, they cut that guy a deal, and they have not contacted me about it since. Because I wanted to tell the truth, and they didn't want that to happen. That is our law enforcement these days, especially in this area. This is what the FBI is capable and will do to make their narrative fit. That's disturbing.